nature-based strategy. Why your best ideas happen outside or outdoors or somewhere in nature or in some different environment. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. Welcome to day 217 of our Supersize Your Business Annual Challenge. This whole month, we're focusing on the life framework area of spirituality, meaning what is the spirit of our business? We talked about that on the first day of this focus on spirituality, and we're going to talk about a topic connected to spirituality every day this month because it's like contribution. It's one of those secret kind of areas where people know that it happens in the background, but they don't really consciously use it to create the business that they love, the business that they want, the business that feeds their soul, instead of the one that sucks the life out of you. How do I know this? Because I've been involved in 27 different businesses and industries throughout my corporate career and business ownership. And now, since then, I've literally helped hundreds and hundreds of companies in different industries to grow and scale and supersize their business. And one of the common things that I find is we live our lives in artificial, simulated environments that are not that good for us. Nature has this restorative power. It recharges our batteries. It reduces stress. It helps us in so many ways. And to be honest, I didn't figure that out. I mean, I had pieces of figuring it out throughout my past, which is why it came to mind after I had a sudden cardiac arrest and wasn't almost here anymore. And I realized, well, part of it is because I am so disconnected to the things that really matter to me and are important to me. And I'm running through my life building things that are awesome for other people, but they're not necessarily great for me. And so I had to do some soul searching, and I did most of that in nature. I started walking outdoors every single day when I did have to go back to my business, because honestly, I wanted to just hand my business off to my son after that event. And instead, I ended up having to go back because he had some other challenges that he needed to deal with in his life, which is how life works, right? But I started, and I don't remember why. I think it was because I was walking every day after my cardiac arrest. I started walking on what was called the dike every single day. And I realized that the challenges and the problems and the setbacks and the things that I used to just get totally tipped over and frustrated about didn't bother me at all anymore, because as soon as I stepped outdoors in the sunshine, sometimes in the rain, I got a sense of peace. It reduced my stress. It allowed me to think clearly and set aside all of the literally stinking thinking that was going on in my mind, and make better decisions, make better choices, ask better questions. Hey, does the thing that's in front of me, number one, is going to matter in 5 years? I love that question, because the vast majority of things freaking don't. And so then I can deal with them with a different mindset than the problem was presented to me. But that was my turning point. And then even in corporate America, I started to take meetings outside, because I realized when we changed our environment and got outside, and literally outside in nature, where we could feel and sense the endless possibilities of nature, right? The abundance of the universe is mind-boggling. All you have to do is think about things like, well, I wonder how many grains of sand are on this beach. I wonder how many grains of sand are in 1 square inch. I wonder how many drops of water. Heck, how many tons or gallons of water are in this body of water that I'm looking at. And when we see that, it allows us to think bigger and dream bigger and open ourselves up to the possibility, which opens us up to so many more ideas and so many more creative ways to solve problems. And the more creative we let ourselves be, at least in my experience, the better results we get in our life and in our businesses. So today, what's our action I'm going to be? I'm going to jump right to that. I challenge you today to spend 30 minutes in nature. Now, depending on where you are, what season it is, that may or may not be a good idea. If it's, sometimes it's 30 or 50 below wind chill where I live. And those are the days, sometimes I just say no and I don't go for a walk. I'll ride my exercise bike or do something different. But I still, every day, at least once or twice, sometimes 10 or 20 times a day, depending on what's going on in the business, right? I will find a window and just sit and look out that window or let the sun shine in on my face. Because I know that if I do that, it just gives me the tiny little bit of time to reset and look at things differently. And whenever we look at things differently, whenever we see them differently, whenever we'll let ourselves see them differently, because that's what it really is. We can change our mind on a dime. We can make decisions and changes in our life almost instantaneously, but it all comes down to when we make that decision and that choice. And I think one of the biggest, best skills that business owners can have is faster, quicker, better decision making to take action, because it's only in action that we find out if something's going to actually work for us and our business or not. We can sit and make plans till the cows come home, but that is not going to make us a single dollar. We have to take an action, take a step, and then see what the results are. So 30 minutes, share in the comments below what you did. Don't share what you're going to do. Share what you did. And if you didn't do anything, just say, I didn't do anything today. And that tells us, and that tells you, most importantly, that you need it more than anything else, right? I don't know about you, but nature is absolutely positively my battery recharger and my mood and my stinking thinking reset button. And it doesn't have to take 10 minutes. Sometimes it's just peeking out the window. Every morning when I make my cup of coffee in the Keurig, part of my morning routine is I open the front door, and if it's nice out, I step outside. If it's not nice out, even if I'm not dressed, I know. I usually have my robot pajamas on some mornings. I will step outside and just take a couple of deep breaths. And that sets the tone for my entire day. I challenge you to do something like that, anything like that, right? All right, love to hear your stories about this. If this is the kind of thing and topics that you're interested in to grow and scale your business, looking at things differently, I definitely think differently. Join me on our free Supersize Your School business community. That's where the challenge is living from now on. Again, this is our first year doing a Supersize Your Business annual challenge, but that's where it's going to live. Will I do it again? I don't know yet. I haven't decided. I always decide about the last week of the year if I'm going to do another annual challenge. This is my 9th year in doing an annual personal development type challenge and sharing it online. This is the first year I've done that. I've been posting on Supersize Your Business this is my 9th year, but I have not shared it as an annual challenge. And I thought, okay, I'm doing all this double stuff. Why would I not streamline that and do the same thing for business as I do for the personal development? Because having a business is the best, hardest personal development task or journey you will ever undergo that you didn't know you were undergoing. I've firmly come to enhance and embrace and believe that. All right, if I can help you in any way, ask. Otherwise, go out, make it a phenomenal day, and I'll, of course, be with you tomorrow.